now I'm seeing that our time, I think, was the best. Yeah.
I don't think so.
And we sorry.
I don't think so. I think the 90s is more fun than being the 40s.
Wilson wants to challenge
Have you been there before?
No, I haven't been there.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Prudent Money Show, brought to you by Prudential Life Insurance. My name is Keni Ribeiro and I'll be your host for today's conversation. Today I have the honor of moderating a conversation between two different generations, the old generation and the new generation, and their takes on insurance. In the studio with me today, I have Wilson Kwofie, who was born in the 90s and is in the younger generation. And in the older generation, a face and a name that every household in Ghana would recognize, Mr. Fred Amugi. They will be talking to us about their impressions on insurance and what life was like growing up in their various times and frames. All right, so we'll go right into the conversation. You're welcome to the studio. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Keni.
Us.
Thank you.
All right, so the first question would be, which year were you born in and what was growing up like?
Well, I was born in the 1940s, 1948 to be precise.
Wow.
And to be more precise, 5th November 1948.
I'm trying to imagine where I was in 1948. Please carry on.
Yeah. And I grew up at Keni in Accra here. And then later went to live in Usu, where my daddy was working with the Ghana Housing Corporation. So that's where, in fact, I started schooling, Usu Home Primary School. But my daddy was such a traveler in the sense that he was transferred from, one capital to another, Cape Coast, Accra, Kumasi, all that. And we, the children, had to just follow wherever he went. So I continued changing primary schools, middle schools, and what have you. But at the end of the day, I ended at Nungwa Secondary School. And talk of my time in those days. I only heard of insurance, right? When, a resource person came to the school to talk about such a thing. We had the different societies in the school. So if any resource person had something to do with the society, that was when we heard about this or that. It happened same with insurance people. And it was, I think, State Insurance Corporation, because that was the only kind of institution that insured people, insured houses, insured whatever. So there wasn't much per me to say that I knew what they were talking about in those days. Yes, until I became a man who could understand this or that. I decided, why not? So this is what they've been talking about all the time. But come to think of it, I never did any insurance myself until I bought my first car. Then, whether I liked it or not, I had to insure the car. Yes. And when my children started growing too, I had a chance to insure them as they grew up. And in brief, this is how I got into
insurance.
Insurance, yes.
So before I go to Wilson, just an idea of what your childhood was like. What was it like growing up? I know you said you moved from place to place, but what was the culture like? I'm sure now that you are here, you can see the difference between then and now. So what's the difference? What did we miss out on, those of us who were born in this generation?
I could go to any tap, open it, and those that drank water from the tap in my palm. Which child of this generation would be allowed, not that the child might not want to do it. But parents will not allow that. And come to think of it, we did all this. Sometimes we played around, barefooted, and we didn't feel anything. Now, even me, I will not allow my grandchild to not to wear, what we call chaliwote whilst in the house. Always protect your feet, kind of. But my own time, we went to town, we went to the beach.
There's so much freedom.
Sandals-less. and we had good fun, And friends were friends we met almost on hourly basis until we went to bed. Unlike now where friends are found on Instagram, on Facebook, on what have you,
Yeah.
So I would say friends were friends in those days because we saw each other, and we wrote letters to ourselves to express what we felt about one another in those days. The post office thing is now dead. Gone, but that tells you how technology, has gone, how far technology has gone. But in everything, you have advantages and disadvantages. Nothing is 100% good and nothing is 100% bad. You have but in every situation. So I would say, yes, this generation has a lot to thank God for, because through mankind, He's made life a bit easier than, But I in my days, I thought my life was better than my daddy's younger days, generation. So I think that thing would just go on and on and on. Every generation would tell their children that, hey, our time was good. So now I'm seeing that our time, I think, was the best. Yeah.
I don't think so.
Sorry.
I don't think so. I think the 90s is more fun than being the 40s.
Wilson wants to challenge
Have you been there before?
No, I haven't been there. But
there's a saying in Akan that opinion of being a bidder. But if I was born yesterday and you were born today, I have been in your age before.
But I'm sure you didn't have most of the things we had during the 90s.
Exactly what I'm saying. I didn't say we had them, but I'm saying the kind of friends we had, you don't have now. You don't have now because, I could go to any family friend or any family member's house, eat and come back, and nothing was wrong with that. Now, how do you even visit your own sibling without alerting him or her that, hey, come Saturday, I want to come and visit you with the children. But in my days, you sat down from nowhere and an auntie appeared and said, hey, I'm going to Sunyani, but when I got to Kumasi, I decided, hey, I'll just spend the night here. And it was all joy to see an auntie you had last seen 2, 3, 4 years ago. It was all joy in these things. And we had playing fields, like a whole park where when you wanted your child, you just go to that area and no matter what, you see your son or your daughter, because that's where almost every child plays. This kind of thing, it's not there. We lived in Cape Coast, we had it. We lived in Takoradi, even Osukaya. There was a playing field for people in the estate. So if you thought your child was lost, just go to the park and the child is there. If the child is not playing football, he's doing some kind of game with other friends, and everything was okay,
All right, we'll head over to Wilson. Wilson, Uncle Fred says he had a fuller childhood than you did.
Yes.
What do you say to that? How was your childhood like?
My childhood was fun, I would say, because I grew up in Awoshi and then Tema as well, but most of the life was lived in Awoshi. So we could play in the streets, play football in the street during vacations. We could go hunt for birds. Think Opo.
Do you see the now children playing ball on the street?
They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that.
So but I think we are speaking the same language now.
Yeah, I agree. But we could chase for birds. We could chase for birds and kill them.
We did that.
And yeah. I think we could mold cars from milk tins or Milo tins.
Oh, you also experienced that?
Yeah, I did experience that in the 90s. I'm not so far from a Gen Z though, but
all right, that's quite an interesting one. So we'll go straight into our conversation about insurance. Uncle Fred has already talked about how he heard about insurance during a visit by someone to their school. What about you? Did you hear about insurance during your childhood at any point?
No, I think I heard about insurance after senior high school. It was from a mobile network where they wanted to offer a hospital cash plan. So that was the first time I got to hear about insurance. Till uni, when we were taught a bit about risk management. And then, yeah, starting work and then getting to know about the details of insurance itself.
Uncle Fred, have you at any point, you mentioned that you registered your car and had to get insurance for your car. But at which point did you start considering life insurance? Is it when you started a family or as soon as you realized that?
After pension, can you imagine?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. My church, my congregation, that's a Epiphany congregation at Sattler, the men's fellowship, we have a group kind of life insurance for the whole men's fellowship. And that is what I'm part of. But I know my children, the two boys, have insurance for in fact, the first boy has 3 strong boys, and he has life insurance for himself, the wife, and the 3 boys. The second one is still unmarried, so I can't tell about him, but I know that the older one, David, and the children are all insured. Yes.
So would you say that not having insurance during that time was a sort of disadvantage to you?
Frankly, I regret this day that when I was younger, I didn't do any life insurance thing. For whatever reason, I can't tell myself why I didn't do it. But, talking of friends who for one reason or another did it and have benefited from it, I keep asking myself, but Fred, why didn't you do it? So now I don't think I will advise anybody, any right thinking person, to ignore insurance, especially life insurance. Yes.
Right. Wilson, you belong to the younger generation. You don't have dependents yet. However, what do you think your generation's impression of insurance is? Our generation seems to be more laid back about these things, protecting their families, protecting the future. Do you think that has in any way affected the way you and your friends view insurance?
Yeah, it has. Because we feel we are more energetic, we are young, nothing can happen to us. If you look at even the death rate, it's very, very low when it comes to our bit. But another thing is, on social media, we are seeing our friends that are passing on, even getting critically ill, being disabled and all that. So, but still, we still feel, Charlie, maybe it's their time.
Untouchable.
Yeah, you're untouchable because it's not happening to us. Because why should I buy even a health insurance? I'll pay for a whole year, 3 years, 10 years. I haven't fought sick. I'm not ill. We could go like 10 years, 15 years without nothing has occurred to us. So we still have the perception that, Charlie, we need to make more money. We need to focus on saving than even buying a savings, an insurance plan.
That is what the problem is.
Yeah.
Just looking for money.
It's better to save than
that is what you would say, that I'm looking for money. I mean, I have the strength I have, but your life is not in your hands. And death will come when it will come.
Yeah.
Death doesn't fear the elderly. It doesn't fear the baby. It doesn't fear the clot of blood in the womb of a woman. Death. So it will come when it will come. Sickness, the same. You don't have to be sick with fever. But there are other sicknesses that come, and you thank God if it were fever. So I'll repeat that the now generation should take serious interest in ensuring their lives. And that
we still believe that when am I going to benefit from it? So if I'm putting down money or if I'm saving money, I'm not going to benefit from it now.
That's the deceitful part.
So it makes it very difficult.
That's what I'm telling you.
Life
I have regretted I didn't do it.
Okay.
You see, and I'm saying it again, that opinion of being a bidder.
About Friday.
I've gone through that before, and I'm telling you, I regretted not doing it because friends and other siblings benefited from that. Of course, nobody's praying that something bad should happen, but life without those things would be lifeless. I mean, there wouldn't be life. You frown today, the next minute you are smiling.
Yeah.
You cry today, the next time you are laughing. That is how life goes. So you are very healthy today. You can break down the next 1 hour for no reason. So don't think of just making the money. Of course, doing insurance is also stashing some money away.
Some money there, yeah.
Just so that when the unprecedented happens, you can say, wow, if not for this insurance, where would I have been?
You're right.
So yes, think of money, but think of your life. Think of your health. Anything can happen to anybody anytime. It is only sicknesses that, break us down. You can have a small accident in the house, sleeping down the stairs, and that is it. Nobody's praying it should happen. But that is why, God created man in his own image. So naturally, there are things God has put in human beings to help mankind. And one of these things, I can tell you, is insurance. But somebody sitting back and saying, hey, insure your life, insure yourself against this or that. Because these things, when they are coming, they don't warn you, they don't forewarn you.
Okay, but you have gone through life and nothing has happened. You were privileged.
Yeah.
But could you share maybe your friends that such incidents has happened to them?
Look, even when I came on pension, that was in 2008, right? I was still working because I'm an actor. Other friends who had nothing to do, they came on pension in 2010, 2011. After a year, they were dead bodies. Because, in their working life, you get up early in the morning, by 6, you're on the road to work, all those things, and came back home around 7, around 8, and that was the lifestyle. But when they came on pension, there was nothing to do. It broke them down just like that. You getting me? So I have, a few examples that I can tell you. Friends traveling on excursion, and there was an accident, and many were maimed. Kind of. Who is praying that such a thing should happen to you? If you are lucky and God holds you, He holds your hand. Yeah, maybe like me, you will be lucky. But yeah, I'm saying my friends who were not, some of my friends who were not as, lucky as I am now, So don't say Uncle Fred didn't do insurance and nothing happened to him. So. But Uncle Fred's friends didn't do it. Some did it, and the unfortunate things happened to them. So it's better to look at the future more than the now. Yes.
So Wilson, you belong to the younger generation. We are the generation that thrives on the internet. Would you say that the process of making insurance more accessible on digital platforms has helped to make insurance a bit more friendly, the whole concept of insurance a bit more friendly to your generation?
Yes, it's a bit friendly to us, and then it's create more awareness when it comes to our generation, because we've been seeing a lot of ads all over about insurance, about the need for it, about securing ourselves and even getting a financial security even for our savings or even just for our dependents. Okay, because a lot could happen. Our generation may not have a lot of dependents, but one way or the other, someone may have a child somewhere, someone may have a parent who's taking care of. So all these things come in place. It's created a lot of awareness for us to at least buy a plan and then secure ourselves.
So do you have
even
insurance?
If not for yourself, at least for your parents before they leave
they
this
pass away.
Before they do. I think my dad has benefited from insurance when the in-law died. So when my grandmother died. So my dad was able to make a claim and then pay off some little here and there for the funeral. So personally, I have life insurance. I'm privileged to work with Prudential, and I get to understand the need for having such plans. Okay, so we, the younger generation, we may feel, I'm not going to die now. I'm not going to get critically ill. Disability can occur to me, so I don't really need it. But all these things have needs. So like I said, I can have a child somewhere. People may have dependents living with them, so they still need life insurance. Insurance is there to give them a replacement income. So this replacement income, the family or your dependents can live on that amount of money in order to secure their child's education for themselves. They can pay off even mortgage. Our younger generation, or people between 18 to about 35, they can buy plants, or they can go for loans to buy homes. And then the bank can be chasing them to pay off the loan if the person who went for the loan has passed on. So the amount of money that can be paid out when death has occurred, or even critical illness or disability has occurred, they can use that to secure that particular loan they have taken.
Uncle Fred, so now that you have insurance, would you say that you prefer going to an insurance office to, say, purchase insurance, or using your phone?
Not necessarily going there, but telling other friends of my age, look, hey, don't look at your age. You have younger people in your home. Go tell them, discuss with them that, yes, you might be out of the insurance range for now, but for the sake of regrets one day, it's about time you look at the younger generation in your home and get them to insure themselves. One of my regrets is that I lost my only daughter and I hadn't done any insurance, for her at the time. You see, little did I believe that she will even fall ill and never recover. So like you're saying, yes, that exuberance, very youthful, and, never think that is the way life is going to be all the time. Life is full of ups and downs, you see. And yes, sometimes life is difficult. It's just like climbing a hill. Then you decide to put your sandals at the valley of the mountain and climb barefooted because it will be easier. It's hard time you wore your sandals and climbed. So when you get to the top, you don't ask yourself, what is my pair of sandals? Go with it and feel the climbing, that is when you understand life better. And once you live, anything that happens to A, B, or J can happen to you. So this is the time to think about insurance. Now, if you haven't done it, even if you have 1 year now that your age might disqualify you, use
the one
year, to do something before that age catches up with you. That's all I would say.
Wilson, earlier you spoke about the younger generation feeling as though there are other things they can use money for. So what do you think insurance offers you that, let's say, a loan or some other form of financial instrument does not give you?
Okay. So if you compare what insurance can give you to what you get from a loan, starting off with a loan, there's interest. So you would have to pay off the interest. It would give you still have to be paying for a number of years. Now, having some conversation with my friends, they'll be like, oh, I'm saving for rainy days. I'm putting some money down so that when something happens. So we can do a little example. So with our plans here in Prudential, there's a 6 months waiting period that if something should happen, that's when you can come in and make a claim. Now, if you are saving 100 cedis a month for rainy days and an uncertainty occurs to you in the 7th month, you would have saved just about 700 Ghana cedis. Okay. But with the help of insurance, you would have some appreciable amount of money in order to curb that particular uncertainty that has occurred to you. Okay, so critical illness could happen to each and everyone. Death could happen to each and everyone. Total disability could happen to each and everyone. And you need some amount of money to take care of that particular uncertainty or that particular risk that has happened. But if you compare it with savings or even going for a loan to take care of that particular thing, you still live to pay off those loans, and it will rip you off some joy. Maybe that money was for education, it could be for your wedding, it could be for anything, it could be for rent. You had plans with that particular money, but insurance would give you a guaranteed amount of money to sort that particular thing out than going in for loans or relying on some financial instruments. Yeah.
Okay, so our final question before you wrap up: if you could create your own insurance product, include anything you want, Uncle Fred, what would you add? So let's call it the Uncle Fred insurance policy.
Oh, wow. That's a beautiful question I haven't sat to think about at all. You see, life isn't the straight route. It's full of junctions and curves and what have you. I'll let a lot of people know that, hey, since you don't know what you're going to meet in the next junction, or turning left at the other junction, secure that unknown before you get there. If you get there and everything is rosy, thanks be to God. If you get there and it's not going to be easy, once you have done some policy to take care of that unknown thing, then you are safe. Yes, I want to tell people, be safer for the future before you even get to that future. You never can tell.
And that means that your policy will cover death, educational,
exactly,
accidents, illness. It will cover everything.
Yes,
everything that can possibly
sickness,
happen.
name it. Because all these things, you never know when they will come into play. Right. But if you have ensured that future against all these that we have mentioned, what are your fears? Like my little brother said, yes, you could be saving big for the future, for particular vision that you have. But if the unexpected happens and you use that money, what next? But insurance is prepared to say, if this should happen, it's on me because of the little contributions we've been making.
Over the period.
And right. I think that is cool. I'm cool with that.
Okay. So you heard it first. Uncle Fred's insurance policy is coming out soon. Watch this space. All right, Wilson, please take us away. Tell us what your ideal insurance policy should include.
I'm not far from what Uncle Fred mentioned. These are life uncertainties. They are bound to happen. These are things that can rob us of our joy, like the critical illness, death, and then disability. These are the major things. Now, if you're not even covered, and then you get involved in such uncertainties, your joy is gone off. And there are friends, or we even see on social media people soliciting for funds for somebody for kidney, liver, pancreas, and all these things. That has occurred to a very young family. The breadwinner is gone. Disability has occurred. An accident. All these things are happening. So I believe that insurance, there's a need for it. And everybody, whether young or old, whether you're dying young or you're going to live late, you still need to have a plan to get covered so that all these life uncertainties don't rob off the joy that you have. So that's it.
All right. So our final word is, regardless of how old or young you are, do make sure that you have an insurance policy so that your back is covered in the case of any eventualities. You don't want to have some uncomfortable situation and have nothing to fall back on. As always, this has been a most enlightening conversation, and we hope that this has helped you to better understand insurance, regardless of which generation you're born in, and to also make prudent money decisions. Until we come your way again with another episode, do take care